Please let me feel something new. Anything. Her mother had disabled Hive alerts on her phone, but there was nothing her mother could do to her phone that Cassie couldn't undo. Rachel was a classics professor, not a coder. Cassie's phone wasn't even running the software it had come with. It ran a custom variant she and her dad had cobbled together. Now its sudden burst of pings made her jump. This was it. All around her, people were receiving the same notification she had just heard through her earbud. He was here. The crowd roared, so Cassie did too, the sound surprising her as it reached up her throat, around her teeth. It felt unexpectedly good to yell. Because all the others around her were stomping their feet and shaking their fists, she did as well, and that also felt good. Kind of. It was real, and it wasn't pain, so that counted for something. Cassie tried not to think about it too deeply, but for months she hadn't been able to shake the feeling that she was viewing the world from a distance, like she was occupying a different physical plane from everyone around her. Here, in this moment, Cassie thought maybe she could see things normally again. She could feel things normally again. She could belong. And right now, she belonged here, at Rash Field, with the others who'd also been drawn here by GPS and Wi-Fi and the unrelenting triangulation of cell towers. "Do your justice," the synthetic voice in her ear said, followed by the hashtag. Everyone else heard the same. Cassie had always hated being tall, a trait she'd inherited from her dad, but today it felt like a sign. Her first Hive mob, and she practically had a front-row seat. She saw the perpetrator immediately, a slight, sandy-haired man, his head down, climbing the bleachers as he'd been instructed to do by the thousands who logged their votes locally. It took him forever to reach the top. When he did, Cassie took note of how his shoulders, which had been sagging, suddenly straightened, how his slight frame suddenly seemed to grow in size. This man was determined, Cassie realized. Almost proud. Well, he wouldn't be proud for long. He'd humiliated his family in public by writing an anonymous blog in which he'd detailed his ambivalence about his relationships with his wife and his children. Honesty on social media was admirable, but there were limits. After a particular post with the confession that his response to his wife's cancer diagnosis was to tell her he didn't love her anymore, his blog went viral, and the usual dox gangs quickly uncovered his identity. His dislikes and condemns skyrocketed. Even Cassie had shared the call to condemn him, and she barely shared anything online these days. Overnight, Hive justice was declared, and #public-junk was agreed to be an appropriate sentence. So justice would be served, right here, right now. As punishment for his indiscretion, he'd be forced to parade around town naked with the words, "World's worst husband and father," written on his chest. Someone started chanting, "Monster, not a man," and Cassie joined in, even though it was a dumb chant. But the chant wasn't the point of all this, was it? It was the togetherness, Cassie knew, the unity. That's what everyone said, anyway. She tried to say the words again, to be a part of it all, but the chant caught in her throat. She coughed as she watched the man on the bleachers square his shoulders again, like he could form a barrier around himself before things got started. The sun shifted overhead, brightening the field even more, giving Cassie a clearer look at him. She blinked. There was something about his face. For a second, Cassie wondered if she knew him. Still waiting on the top row of the bleachers, the man took off his glasses, folded them carefully, and placed them in his left shirt pocket. Then he patted them, twice. Cassie's stomach heaved. "Dad," she whispered. Around her, the crowd quieted. "Wait!" Cassie said. No one heard her. A woman with a bright scarf wrapped around her head, carrying a marker, climbed the bleachers. Noticing her, the man began unbuttoning his shirt. The sunlight gleamed off his sandy hair. Cassie struggled to catch her breath.